Okay, I'm going to read chapter 14 for several days, and then my monitor didn't work. So and then I changed the monitor, so I can read this story again. So chapter 14, chapter 13. In chapter 13, Mr. Paul and told got to the Alahabad, and then they headed to the Kolkata, northern India. I looked around in the Ganges River to check out, and also in the story there's a Parsee. The Parsee was from Persia a long time ago, and so I tried to find the video clip. Luckily, I found it, and then I could study Parsee culture uniquely and Sikhs. They have their own culture, and also one of my friends on Facebook told me about the Parsees, and then okay, so I'm going to read chapter 14 again.
World in 80 Days by Jules Verne, translated by George Makepeace Tower. Chapter 14, in which Phileas Fogg descends the whole length of the beautiful valley of the Ganges without ever thinking of seeing it. The rash exploit had been accomplished, and for an hour Passepartout laughed gaily at his success.
Sir Francis pressed the wolf fellow's hand, and his master said, "Well done," which is from him was a high commendation, to which Passepartout replied, "All the credit of Paris belonged to Mr. Fogg."
To Mr. Fogg. As for him, he had only been struck with a queer idea, and he laughed to think that for a few moments he, Passepartout, the ex-gymnast, ex-sergeant fireman, had been the spouse
of a charming woman, then with the embalmed Rasa.
Young Indian woman. She had been unconscious throughout of what was passing, and now, wrapped up in a traveling blanket, was reposing in one of the howdahs.
The elephant, thanks to the skillful guidance of the Parsees, was advancing rapidly through the skilled forest, and hour after leaving the pagoda and crossed a vast plain,
Halt at 7 o'clock, the young woman being still in a state of complete prostration.
and the guide made of drink a little brandy and water, and that drowsiness, which is stiffer pirates.
Familiar with the effects of the intoxication produced by the fumes of hemp, reassured his companions on her account.
But he was more disturbed at the prospect of her future fate. He told Phileas Fogg that should the hours still remain in years, that she would inevitably fall again into the hands of her executioner.
These fanatics were scattered throughout the country, and would, despite the English police, recover their victim at Madras, Bombay, or Calcutta.
She would only be saved by quitting India forever. Phileas Fogg replied that he would reflect upon the matter.
The station at Alahabad was reached about 10 o'clock, and the interrupted line of railway being resumed would enable them to reach Calcutta in less than 24 hours.
Phileas Fogg would thus be able to arrive in time to take the steamers which left Calcutta the next day, October 25th, and noon for Hong Kong.
The young woman was placed in one of the waiting rooms of the station, whilst Passepartout was charged with purchasing for her various articles of toilet.
The dress show or some purse for which his masters gave him unlimited credit.
Two started off forthwith and found himself in the streets of Alahabad, that is, the city of God, one of the most venerated in India, being built at the junction of the two sacred rivers, Ganges and
Jumna, the water stove which is attract the pilgrims from every port of the peninsula. The Ganges, according to the legend of the Ramayana, lies in heavens when owing to Brahma's legend it descends to the earth.
Descends to the earth. Passepartout made it a point, as he made his purchases, to take a good look at the city.
It was formerly defended by a noble fort, which has since become a state prison. Its commerce had walled away, and Passepartout in vain looked about him for
a bazaar, as he used to frequent in Regent Street.
At last he came upon an elderly crusty Jew who sold second-hand articles, and from whom he purchased a dress of Scotch serf, a large mantle, and a fine otter.
Police, for which he did not hesitate to pay £75. He then returned triumphantly to the station.
The influence to which the priest of the peerage and subject to the orders began gradually to yield, and she became more herself, so that her fine eyes resumed all their self-Indian expression.
When the poet king Ukaf Udal celebrates the charms of the queen Onamegara, he speaks thus.
Her shining crest bowed into pearl, and soared the harmonious contour of white and delicate cheek, brilliant in their glow and freshness.
Brows have the form and charm of the bow of Kama, the god of love, and beneath her long silken lashes, the purest reflections and a celestial light swim as in
And in the sacred lakes of the Himalaya, in this black focus of her great clear eyes, her teeth fine and coral and white glitter, and between her smiling lips just like a dewdrop, and as passion flowers harp enveloped her.
her vermilion hands, her little feet curved and tender as the lotus bud, glitter with the brilliancy of the loveliest pearls of Ceylon.
The most dazzling diamond of Kolkata.
Supple waist, which a hand may clasp around, sets forth the outline of her rounded figure and the beauty of her bosom, where youth in its flower displays the wealth of its treasures. And beneath the silken
fold of her tunic she seems to have been modeled in pure silver by the godlike hand of the big black Harma, the immortal sculptor.
It is enough to say, without applying this poetical rhapsody to Aouda, that she was a charming woman in all the European acceptation of the phrase.
She spoke English with great purity, and the guide had not exaggerated in saying that the young Parsee had been transformed by her bring up.
The train was about to start from Alahabad, and Mr. Fogg proceeded to pay the guide the price agreed upon for his service, and not a farthing more, which astonished Passepartout, who remembered all that his master
also scored at
had indeed risked his life in the adventure at Pillagei, and if he should be caught afterwards by the Indians, he would with difficulty escape their vengeance. Keoni also must be disposed of.
What should be done with the elephant, which had been so dearly purchased? Phileas Fogg had already determined this question,
said he to the guide. You have been serviceable and devoted. I have paid for your service, but not for your devotion. Would you like to have this elephant?
He is yours? The guide's eyes glistened. Your eye is giving me a portion, cried he.
Cried he. Take him, guide, returned Mr. Fogg, and I shall still be your debtor. Good, exclaimed Passepartout. Take him, friend. Keoni is a brave and faithful beast.
And going up to the elephant, he gave him several lumps of sugar, saying, Here, Keoni, here.
He grunted out his satisfaction, and clasping Passepartout around the waist with his trunk, lifted him as high as his head.
The Passepartout was not in the least alarmed at the carriage animals which he placed him gently on the ground.
Phileas Fogg, Sir Francis Cromarty, and Passepartout, installed in a carriage with Aouda, who had the best seat, were whirling at full speed towards Benares.
It was a run of 8 miles that was accomplished in 2 hours. During the journey, the young woman fully recovered her senses.
What was her astonishment to find herself in this carriage on the railway, dressed in European habiliments, and with travellers who were quite strangers to her.
The accompanist first set about fully dividing her with a little liquor, and then Sir Francis narrated to her what had passed. Dwelling on the courage with which the Phileas Fogg had not hesitated
to risk his life to save her, and recounting the happy sequel of the venture, the result of Passepartout's rash idea.
Mr. Fogg said nothing, so while Passepartout's outburst kept repeating that it wasn't worth telling.
Aouda pathetically thanked her deliverers, rather with tears than words. Her fine eyes interpreted her gratitude better than her lips.
And then other souls strayed back to the scene of the sacrifice and recalled the dangers which still menaced Parsee, so shuddered with terror.
As Fogg understood what was passing in Alahabad's mind, and offered, in order to reassure her, to escort her to Hong Kong, where she might remain safely until the affair was.
Now Haki is up and an offer to which she eagerly gratefully accepted.
The Parsee relation, who was one of the principal merchants of Hong Kong, which is wholly an English city, though on an island on the Chinese coast.
At 12:30, the train stopped at the Benares.
Assert that this city is built on the site of the ancient Parsee, which, like Mahomet's tomb, was once suspended between heaven and earth. Though the Benares of today, which the
Orientalists call the Athens of India, stand quarter and politicalist on the solid earth, as what was called green service, the black houses, the grey earth giving
an aspect of desolation to the place as the train entered it.
Benares was Sir Francis Cromarty's destination. The troops he was rejoining being encamped some miles northward of the city.
To do to Phileas Fogg, wishing him all success, and expressing the hope that he would come that way again in a less original but more profitable fashion. Mr. Fogg lightly pressed him by the hand.
The 14th of August, who didn't forget, was your San Francis to trade more worms, and as for Passepartout, he received a hearty shake of the hand from the gallant general.
Away, on leaving Benares, passed for a while along the valley of the Ganges.
Through the window of their carriages, the travelers had a glimpse of the diverse landscape of Bihar, with its mountains clothed in the verdure, its fields of barley, wheat, and corn, its jungles poplar,
its neat villages, and its still thickly leaved forests.
Elephants were bathing in the waters of the sacred rivers, and groups of Indians, despite their advanced teachings and chariots, they were performing only their pious ablution.
These were fervent Brahmins, the bitterest foes of Buddhism, their deities being Vishnu, the solar god, Shiva, the divine impersonation of natural forces, and
Brahma, the supreme ruler priest and the legislator.
What would these divinities think of India, anglicized as it is today, with steamers whistling and scudding along the Ganges, frightening the gulls which float upon its surface, the turtles swarming along its bank,
and a peaceful dwelling upon its borders? The panorama passed before the eyes like flash, but say, when the steam concealed fitfully the palm view, the travelers could scarcely discern the top of the shore spring 20 miles southwestward from
Benares, the ancient stronghold of the Rajas of Bihar, or Gazipur and its famous rosewater factory, or the tomb of Lord Cornwallis rising on the left bank of the Ganges, the fortified town of Buxar, or
Parsee, a large manufacturers and trading place, where they held the principal opium market of India. The old motives are modern European towns, treated as English as Manchester to Birmingham to this island.
With its iron foundries, edge tool factories, and high chimneys puffing clouds of black smoke heavenward.
At North Cayman, the train passed on at full speed, in the midst of the roarings of the tigers, bears, and wolves, which fled before the locomotive with the marvelous bangles and crocodiles looming gore, and Murshidabad,
the ancient capital, Burdwan, Hugli, and the French town of Chandernagore, where Passepartout would have been proud to see his country's flag flying, were hidden from their view in the darkness.
Calcutta was reached at 7 in the mornings, and picked letter for Hong Kong's ministers at Pittsburgh had 5 hours before him.
To his journal, he was due at Calcutta on the 25th of October, and that was the exact date of his actual arrival. He was, therefore, neither behindhand nor ahead of time.
The chase again between London and Bombay had closed, as had been seen in the journeys across India. It is not to be supposed that Pittsburgh, the great dam,
regretted them. End of chapter 14.
End of chapter 14. Okay, so the elephant's name. What was it? Fogg. I forgot. Mr. Fogg gave the Parsee who guided them the elephant, and then Patois gave sugar for treat. So Keoni. I think the Keoni is the elephant's names. And after reading and then reviewing the story, and that is good to read books. Okay, done.